Hello! I, like many people, have watched a lot of YouTube during these last few months, and my main source of entertainment surprisingly came in the form of speedruns and challenge videos. There are a lot of Pokemon solo runs around, and I've probably watched most of them at least 3 times over, but only a handful have tried a run with one of my personal favourites. If you want something done, you have to do it yourself. So today we're going to find out, can I beat Pokemon Emerald with a team of only one Sableye? Now, I know the reason why not many people use Sableye for these types of challenges. It isn't a tricky Pokemon to use compared to the likes of Shedinja, for example. Stat-wise, he's probably pretty below average, with his lowest stats being HP and speed, but where Sableye really shines is in his typing and ability. Sableye is a Dark and Ghost type, meaning that prior to the Fairy type being introduced in Gen 6, he had 0 type disadvantages. The only other Pokemon in the series with this typing is Spiritomb. Not only that, but Sableye's most common ability in Gen 3 was Keen Eye, which prevented accuracy loss. His move pool by level up isn't anything special, mostly normal and same type moves, but his TM pool has some pretty good potential for type coverage. I'm predicting that we're gonna have a stupidly easy start to this run. Normal moves can't hit us because of our ghost typing, so up until Roxanne, I highly doubt we'll be taking much damage, if any. Let's go over the rules. I can only use Sableye to deal damage in battle. Other party Pokemon will be for HMs only. No items in battle except for held items, no glitches or exploits except for the universal Pokemon randomizer to replace one of the starters, and minimum battles are going to be encouraged. I'm not going to continuously reset the game if I walk into a battle by accident, so we'll play this one by ear. I also just want to disclose that I didn't choose this challenge because I actually thought it would be difficult. I just got inspired by some of my current favourite YouTubers to try it out, so why not with my favourite Pokemon? Nevertheless, feel free to comment if you think we can win. Alright, let's go. So, like any Hoenn run, we have to save Professor Birch from Rocket Raccoon. I used the universal Pokemon randomizer to replace Torchic with Sableye. I chose Torchic because it evolves into a fighting type which doesn't affect us, and we already have some advantages. We want to make this run challenging wherever we can. I nicknamed him Steven, after another character with a gem stuck to his body. Steven has a mild nature, meaning more special attack and less defense, which would be great if ghost moves weren't physical in Gen 3 for some reason. With that, we track down Brendan and pummel him into the dust. After beating up his grandson, Birch gives us the Pokédex, Mum gives us the running shoes, and we can officially start our journey. The trip to Rustboro wasn't very eventful, but I did end up catching a Marill for water HMs later on, but because of that we also ended up getting into a double battle. We got away with this by just having Marill spam Defense Curl. This actually ended up being a good thing because Steven got to level 9 and learned Nightshade, a move that deals the same amount of damage as the user's level, meaning we'll be doing 9 damage. It doesn't sound like much, but it's a good boon for this early in the game. After that, we bumped Marill off in the PC and went straight to Roxanne. I start off by using Nightshade to gauge Geodude's HP. It does around a quarter damage. We get past it and gain a level, but we took too much damage ourselves, so the next Geodude that came out beat us. I'm going to be taking a no reset strategy with this run unless I have other Pokemon in the party, so after whiting out we backtrack a bit and beat the other trainers just outside Petalburg Wood. We try again at level 11, but we get the same result. Same at level 12, and same at level 13. At level 14, we managed to get through the first Geodude without taking any damage, and then we finally beat the second Geodude and make it to Nosepass. Something I've noticed from challenge runs is that once you get to Nosepass, you're pretty much 90% guaranteed to win, because it seems more concerned with defense rather than actually attacking you. That aside, we finally beat Roxanne and get the Stone Badge. After saving Pecco and receiving the letter and package from Mr. Stone, we then took off for Dewford. We pretty much just immediately went to the gym and decimated Brawly first try, so no surprises there. And then we went to find Steven in Granite Cave. On the way, we actually ran into another Sableye, and I only just realised that Steven was a girl. But anyway, after our little side mission, next stop was Slateport. In the museum, I got the TM for Thief from the grunt downstairs that we fought earlier, but then we lost to the grunts upstairs due to an unlucky crit, and because I had a HM Pokemon with me, we had to reset and I forgot to save, so we had to do Granite Cave again. We beat them on the 3rd attempt though, thanks to getting a level mid-battle. We carried on to Route 110 and learned Fake Out, meaning we can now get a cheap shot in at the start of battles by making the opponent flinch. We try our luck against Brendan, and we did pretty okay until Marshtomp that just destroyed us. We try again at level 22 only to go down to Slugma, and at 24 we finally manage it and carry on to Motoville. We took poor Wally down in one hit, and after that we tried our luck at the gym. Unfortunately, Watson's Magneton is a bit too much for us right now, so we decided to grind on the surrounding trainers and kept trying every single time we gained a level. I also picked up the Black Glasses to boost Steven's Dark type effectiveness, hoping that'll give us a bit of a push. At level 29 we replaced Thief with Faint Attack, but we're still not quite getting it. At level 34 we finally beat the gym and get the Dynamo Badge. After that ordeal, we make our way up to Fallible Town and over to Meteor Falls to do some plot stuff and then backtrack to Mount Chimney. Fun fact, I only ever had Pokemon Sapphire as a child. I never had Ruby, and I remember having Emerald, but somehow losing it. Why do the Magma girls look like they have beards? We beat Maxie first try like a boss, and Team Magma runs off, so we can finally head to Laveridge Town. We get to Laveridge Town and take on Flannery. It takes a few tries, but at level 39 we get to Torkoal on full health. It uses Overheat and takes us all the way into red before we take it down and receive the Heat Badge. We backtrack all the way to Petalburg and fight our way to Dad. First was Spinder, which was a one-shot, then Vigoroth also went down pretty easy. Norman can't do damage to us except with Feint Attack, but we also can't use 2 of our moves, so it kind of became a Feint Attack standoff. While fighting Slacking, we got put to sleep, but he never actually hit us until we woke up. He took us down to 2 HP before we beat him and learned Shadow Ball. His final Linoon was a pushover, and we now have 5 badges. Wally's dad gives us the HM for Surf, so we swim back to Slateport, cycle to Moville, and surf over to Route 119. We come to the Weather Institute that seems to have a pirate infestation, so we help them out and they give us a cast form, which we threw into the PC and continued on. Brendan ambushes us outside and challenges us to a battle, but we didn't really have anything to worry about thanks to a critical Shadow Ball. We make it to Fortree, but can't get to the gym, so we harass Stephen into giving us a Devon Scope so we can face Winona. The first attempt we actually came really close, but everyone after that we kept getting walled because of either Skarmory or Altaria. We kept trying level by level, but just couldn't get past it for quite some time. It was obvious our current strategy wasn't working, but then I realised we have the Shockwave TM from Watson that Sableye can actually learn. The attempt after that made me feel a bit stupid because it immediately became really easy. At level 49, we got the Feather Badge. Finally. We spot some pirate grunts en route to Lily Cove and follow them to Mount Pyre and end up getting into another double battle with HM Pokemon, so I just opted to make them attack Steven whenever possible. The old woman gives us the Magma emblem, so guess where we're going. Now, this area was a bit confusing to me because, as mentioned before, I only had Sapphire and I lost my Emerald cartridge at some point. I didn't realise there were so many mandatory trainers in this area compared to the Team Aqua hideout. Maxie's battle was surprisingly frustrating, not because it was difficult and we didn't have to level a whole bunch, but it was just tedious to trek back after losing, even if we only had to do it a couple of times. We managed to beat him at level 53 and went on to advance the plot with Team Aqua. We make a pit stop to Slateport, watch Archie Grand Theft Auto a submarine, and then head to the Aqua hideout. This area was way easier and more familiar to me, so we didn't have much of an issue. The admin took 2 tries, but we managed it and we can finally head over to Moss Deep. We immediately try the gym and we beat it first try. We had our HM Pokemon with us, but they were so underleveled that it didn't really make a difference. The only thing they managed to do was Wingull confuse Steven, and even then, he kind of snapped out of it pretty quickly. After that was the space station. We team up with Steven and fight off Maxie, and I'd say we handled it pretty well, all things considered. Straight after that was the seafloor cabin, which I got lost in. I've just kind of realised that I don't have much luck with caves. Solved the boulder puzzle first try though. We fight Archie and we manage to beat him with just 5 HP remaining, but in a fit of sore loserism, he awakens Kyogre. After this, we do a bit of travelling in the ocean to put Sootopolis on the map. We get to meet Wallace, and we head on over to the Sky Pillar. We ask Rayquaza to control its kids, and like any good mother, it puts them back to bed. Now that that's settled, we make our way to the final gym. On the first try against Juan, Love Disc of all things, does a ton of damage and Whiscash knocks us out. But at level 58 we beat Juan and are ready for the Pokemon League. First stop was Victory Road. Not even 10 steps in, Wally ambushes us, which I completely forgot about. I'm so used to him turning up at the end, so naturally he wipes the floor with us. We try this fight like a good handful of times, but it just isn't happening. After racking our brains a bit, I actually remembered that Sableye can learn Brick Break, so we fly back to Sootopolis and we get the TM. It still takes us a few tries, but we finally beat him. So, you know how I said I wasn't great with caves? It took us longer than I'd like to admit, but we eventually got through it, and we are at the Elite Four. I am going to be completely honest and say that I was very unprepared for how difficult the Elite Four was going to be. I'm not going to detail every aspect of it like I did with some of the gyms, but basically, our first attempt was at level 62, and it wasn't until level 90 that we had our first battle with Wallace. I seriously underestimated how many times we would need to battle the first 3 trainers over and over. Sydney's Mightyena caused us so much grief right from the start with Intimidate, plus both it and Shiftry like to use Swagger, so we would just often go down to bad confusion luck. We first managed to get past him at level 65, and next up was probably the one that gave us the least amount of trouble, Phoebe. 99% of the time her Dusclops will always use Protect first turn, causing us to waste a move. It goes down pretty easy though, and so does Bayonet. Look! Another Sableye! It went down to 2 Shadow Balls, and her last 2 Pokemon were basically one-shots. And then we get to Glacier. Glacier caused me so much frustration that I went off and did some grinding on the trainers in the ocean, as well as rare candy hunting. We come back at level 70 and try a few more times, but she's still too much for us. We leave again, come back at level 78, we finally beat her for the first time, and take on Drake. But we only get to his Flygon before going down. We just keep going at it over and over and over. There aren't many items that can help us out at this stage, and it didn't seem worth swapping out any moves since the ones we had were doing pretty much okay. It was just a frustrating slog until we finally got to level 90 and miraculously took out Salamence with just 1 HP left. We finally made it to Wallace for the first time, and you know what, that first attempt just made me want to burst into tears. We got all the way to Milotic, got it down to literally a sliver of red health, and it knocked us out. I had to step away for a good half an hour before the computer went through the window. I sit back down and we try again. We managed to get to Wallace again, and this time Wailord goes down in 2 hits, same with Tentacruel. Ludicolo was a one-shot with Shadow Ball. Whiscash kept getting into healing range from Shadow Ball, and Wallace used 3 full restores before I knocked it out. Gyarados was a one-shot with Shockwave, and Milotic kept spamming Recover until finally we managed to beat the champion. That was honestly so much more frustrating than I was expecting, but we all know that that isn't the end. We still have to try our luck with Steven. We head on over to Meteor Falls, and yes, I got lost again. It's been a long time since I picked up these games, and this isn't even one that I'm familiar with. But we find Steven, and usually when I watch people do these runs, Skarmory seems to be the biggest initial hurdle, because toxic, but we surprisingly don't have as bad a time with it. Our biggest problem was Armaldo being an absolute tank and whacking us with Ancient Power, allowing Cradilly to usually be the one to beat us. I'm going to honestly say that this fight is probably impossible. Even when we get to Metagross, Meteor Mash takes out half of our health and we don't deal enough damage to even be in with a chance. Our last attempt was at level 98 and armed with Lax Incense to try and lower his team's accuracy, but at that point I was so tired and done with the constant cycle of defeat that once we got to Metagross, I just threw in the towel and used 2 full restores. It was a cheap win, but it was a win. I'm a little disappointed that I couldn't hold out until level 100 before using an item, but I also didn't anticipate the last handful of trainers being so difficult. I knew they were going to be a tough time, but not that bad. Sableye is still my favourite Pokemon, but I think I see now why not so many people are big on using it. It doesn't help that it's been nerfed even more in later generations thanks to the Fairy type, and also, whose idea was it to give it the stall ability? But I'm still glad that I plucked up the courage to try this, even if it wasn't terribly original. It brought back a lot of memories, and for the most part, I had a lot of fun. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Stick around and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and feel free to comment and suggest some videos for me to make. I am intending for this to be an art channel, but I am open to doing more gaming/challenge videos if people tell me they like them. Stay safe everyone. Bye!